Don't blink. Every second you watch, every word you type, they're closer. Like or comment. It's your only defense. Keep watching. Don't look away.
I should have known something was wrong the moment I saw the job listing. Night security guard needed, no prior experience, high pay, remote location. But I was desperate. Rent was due. My bank account was a joke. So when I saw Chernobyl exclusion zone as the address, I convinced myself it would be safe. After all, it's been decades since the disaster. The radiation levels are mostly contained, right? Right? The drive was long and silent. I passed through multiple checkpoints, each guarded by men who barely spoke a word. Finally, I arrived at the facility, a decaying Soviet-era complex half swallowed by the forest. It loomed against the darkening sky like a dying beast. The man in charge introduced himself only as Colonel Petrov. "Your duties are simple," he said. "You remain inside the security office. You monitor the cameras. You do not leave. You do not open any doors. If you see anything unusual, you report immediately. Do not attempt to handle it yourself." I asked, half joking, "What exactly might I see?" His cold eyes didn't blink. Unusual activity. The office was small and smelled of mildew. Rows of ancient monitors displayed grainy black and white footage from different parts of the facility. Most of the building was sealed off, especially the research wing, which had multiple heavy steel doors bolted shut. For the first 2 hours, nothing happened. I stared at the screens, half falling asleep. Just endless empty hallways, flickering lights, dust floating in the air. Occasionally, the Geiger counter would click softly, but nothing alarming. And then camera 7 glitched. Static rippled across the screen. Through the distortion, I saw something. A shadow. Tall, thin, almost skeletal. It moved awkwardly, like its limbs weren't bending the way they should. My stomach twisted. Was it a person? A trick of the light? I grabbed the radio. Security reporting. Possible movement in Sector C. No response. Just silence and static. I watched the figure move down the corridor, stopping at one of the sealed doors. It stood there for several minutes, perfectly still, like it was listening or waiting. And then it turned, as if it noticed the camera, as if it noticed me. My hands went cold. The power flickered, the lights dimmed, and then the radios went completely dead. Suddenly, I heard footsteps outside my office. Slow, heavy, thump, thump, thump. I locked the door instantly. My heart pounded so loud I thought it might explode. The footsteps stopped, directly in front of my door. I could hear breathing. Deep, wet, ragged. And then, 3 soft knocks. Tap, tap, tap. My entire body froze. I whispered to myself, "This is not happening. This is not happening." The knocking stopped. For several minutes, there was nothing but my own panicked breathing. But then, the door handle started to turn, slowly, deliberately. It rattled softly, as though whatever was on the other side was toying with me. I held my breath, clutching the flashlight like a weapon, though I knew it would do nothing. Then the handle stopped moving. For what felt like an eternity, there was nothing. I thought maybe it was gone. But then, bang! Something slammed against the door with inhuman force. The entire frame shook. Dust fell from the ceiling. And then again.
Bang!
And again. Each impact was stronger than the last. The metal hinges groaned. I screamed into the dead radio, "Help! Someone help me!" And then, Everything went silent. The air felt thick. The only sound was my own pulse. The monitors flickered back to life. Camera 7 came online. On the screen, the thing was inside now, standing in the main hall. Its face, if you could call it that, was an elongated mass of pale flesh, where a mouth should be, a gaping vertical slit, like a second neck that stretched open and closed with wet, clicking sounds. It tilted its head in short, jerky movements, as if scanning the empty room. And then, slowly, it began walking toward my office. Thump, thump, thump. My mind raced. The office had only one entrance, no windows, nowhere to run. Then, another monitor lit up. The emergency tunnel. I had completely forgotten. There was an escape hatch through the maintenance shaft, but it was on the far end of the facility. I had to move. I slipped out as silently as I could. The hallway smelled of mold and rust. Every step felt like thunder in my ears. In the distance, I could still hear its wet breathing echoing through the corridors. The Geiger counter began to click faster. Radiation levels were rising, but that was the least of my concerns. As I reached the hatch, the air grew colder, and then a soft whisper. "Why are you leaving?" I spun around, but no one was there. The hatch was rusted shut. I pulled, kicked, slammed my shoulder against it. The Geiger counter screamed, and then I saw it. Crawling across the ceiling like a spider, its grotesque limbs bending backwards, head twisting unnaturally. It dropped down with a sickening wet thud behind me. I yanked the hatch open and dove into the shaft, slamming it shut just as its claws scraped across the metal door. In the pitch black, I crawled through the narrow tunnel for what felt like hours. Finally, I emerged into the woods, gasping for air, shaking uncontrollably. The facility stood behind me, silent once again. I never went back. But sometimes, at night, I still hear that wet, ragged breathing just outside my window.